Good morning, Super Kicking with Steven Fans, your favorite host right here, Steven A1181, ready to kick off this Sunday of Pro Bowl action for those three people that still care about the Pro Bowl. But I cannot do this show alone. So, of course, without further ado, let's bring on the wizard, the one, the Greg one, Greg Williams, whatever name he goes by this week. We are right here, happy to have him side by side. And Greg, I put it in another guest maybe to come in who got in touch with me last night. Old podcasting host that we used to do a lot of shows together. So we'll see if he shows up as well. So we might have a little trio of addition today. But yeah, Greg, let's just get to it. Do you care about the Pro Bowl?
Not anymore. I did when they used to really hit, and now, we have this sham of what we're doing. As I'll give them credit for just dropping all pretense with the having the full pads and pretending that they're really hitting when they're just playing flag football with pads on anyway.
Yeah.
So just dropping the whole pretense and just put your shirt and shorts on and let's get out there and just chuck it around and be more entertaining to watch that way. So props them for them doing that.
Because we're both old enough, Greg. I remember the QB challenge, which they even made a video game of it. You go out there and try to throw through a tire and run through some cones. So yeah, at least they're doing that. At least they're trying something different with it. But I mean, I guess the other question is which kind of all-star event? It's got to be the NBA, right? It's the best one because the guys go out there and try eventually. And then you got the slam dunk, you got the 3-point, you got the skills challenge. I guess the MLB still has that lore of excitement to it, Greg, as well. But when they did that tie, I think that always left a bad taste in people's mouth as well. But if you run out of people, I don't know what else you could do. So
True.
Yeah, it's probably NBA, and then the NHL did I think a fun 3-on-3. A little bit, something like that. But so at least you got to give credit. Sports trying different stuff. We'll be lucky to have the All-Star game here next year, Greg, in Indianapolis. So that should be kind of fun to host the NBA All-Star game. Never really seen that. I kind of would like to get to the skills, the Saturday night stuff. I think that'd be the most entertaining part. I don't know if I'd care to go to the All-Star game. I mean, if need be, but. And of course, we did have Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers make it, so that's pretty cool to see. Did any of your sons make it? Did Booker make it?
I haven't even seen the rosters.
Okay.
So, Booker's been hurt so much of the year. I doubt he's probably made it. And then Ayton's been average, and Chris Paul's been out most of the year too. So, I doubt if there are any sons on the team.
Yeah, and then the rising stars we have. Andrew Nemhard, and then we have Benedict Mathurin. So we've been pretty well represented there in the Rising Stars Challenge the past few years. Chris Duarte was in last year, and I want to say the year before. So, but yeah, so All-Star Weekend for NBA is coming up. I think they have an All-Star race for NASCAR kicking off at the Coliseum, which is just crazy to think, Greg. They put a racetrack in the LA Coliseum there. And do a race. So kind of this is when sports slowly starts ramping up, right? We turn the calendar and then we go out there. Oh wow, Dan is already getting at the chat. Look at this. He's saying Rhea Ripley is his favorite wrestler out there right now. Wow, jumping off on the. There we go, Greg. Yeah, Rhea Ripley, the women's champion. I mean, women's Royal Rumble winner, probably soon to be champion after WrestleMania, but we'll get into that. So. Let's get into Vengeance Day, Greg. I just kind of put up, we'll probably skip our NXT talk. We'll use it right here. Give some NXT thoughts right here. This, Greg, felt like a good old school NXT takeover with, outside of the PC, a good crowd, Charlotte, North Carolina, which is your home. You did say you saw a little talent going through the Charlotte airport, so you'll definitely have to throw that out there. But kicked off the right way. I think the best match of both guys, Greg, by far in a while. So Wesley defeats Dijak. Dijak did show that I believe his middle finger or ring finger is completely bent, so that has to be awesome.
Ouch.
We had Tony D'Angelo and Stacks play a part, which I kind of thought, whatever. Kind of threw away from it a little bit, but still, Wesley, Dijak, I mean, that was a hot opener. The crowd was into it. And like I said, and probably was the best match of the night, if you really look at it. Um, but a really good match to get Wesley over, and it gives Dijak looking strong. So it did did the job. And I was even going deeper, Greg. I feel like Dijak. I mean, it's probably going to sound crazy. Dijak's probably maybe what Karrion Kross should be, just as hard hitting, you know, saying he's coming out for justice type dude, right?
True, true. I like what they're attempting to do with him. He's doing, pretty good work so far. He comes off a little too much Jean-Claude Van Damme in those
Yeah.
early movies or whatever, but you get the point, and his look and the background that they chose for him um, to do these vignettes and these backstage, um, promos have been really well chosen. And when he's done the things behind the scenes with D'Angelo and with Wesley and the different settings, they've chosen the right setting to get the point across of who he is and what they want him to be. So, I'll give him props for, doing, great character work with him.
Mhm.
And, you know, we'll see if it gets over. So far, so good. And so, yeah, I'll give him, credit for that.
What did
This
you think of
little,
Wesley in the match?
well, be totally honest with you, with the everything was so crazy with the us shooting down the flight balloon from
Oh, okay.
China, and it was just chaos in the airport. So
Okay.
I got out so late I didn't even get to watch it.
Okay.
I did have my brush with greatness.
Yep. You could share
With
that.
I boarded Paul Heyman on my flight to on the flight to Tampa,
Mhm.
and he just creeps up on me, like Caleb Braxton used to do to him. And I turn around and boom, there he is. It's like, oh, that's Paul Heyman. And
Probably wanted to get in and out.
exactly. And if you were wondering, yes, that is his real name. When I scanned his boarding pass, it says Paul Heyman. And so I, figure all of these well-known actors usually they're using a stage name and not as their real life name, but that is actually his real life name. Um, so that was cool. I had a moment to, say hello to him and, acknowledge the wise man. And before I sent them onto the plane, and before he walked away, I told him, have a good show. And then I thought, wait a minute, Vengeance Day isn't until tonight, and you're getting on the plane right now. So I guess
Yeah.
he probably just went and coached up the guys, and they're like, okay, going home, see ya.
I don't know how much
Um,
influence he has for NXT, if any. Maybe just kind of like you said, made a little short jaunt there, and then heads off to Tampa, where Orlando is Monday Night Raw. So if Roman shows up there or the Bloodline, but it sounds like they'll probably wait it out. So. Well,
but
Leslie, I will
figure,
go ahead.
I'll say you put Fighting for You did some work there because I remember the SmackDown was in South Carolina.
Okay, okay,
So,
not too far.
we're not too far, but, why would he be in Charlotte if he wasn't
Sure.
doing something with
Yeah,
the NXT show? So,
yeah. Get in,
but
get out.
yeah, I didn't get to see anybody come through, but that was, the middle of when the show would have actually started. So, if I was working today, I'd be out looking for autographs and pictures, but no luck this time. But
Uh,
um,
so Wesley, I thought, I mean, there was, it was almost like a Rocky type performance where he's kicking out a lot. Did you have too many kickouts? Who knows? But I thought it was the best he looked in the match, Greg. Um, and it was interesting to hear they said this is his first singles run with a title like ever in his whole career.
wow,
He don't him and Nash Carter. had always been tag teams, so he's never earned a actual individual. So that's pretty cool to see, and to kind of shed away that tag team
Yeah,
persona. So because that takes a lot, Greg. We see guys that's all they'll be sometimes. We always
that's
say,
true.
"Are you going to be a Jannetty or a Shawn Michaels?" Like that used to be the old saying. So yeah. Speaking of tag teams, we'll just kind of wrap these together. We saw two new tag team champions crowned. We assumed Gallus was going to defeat everybody in that. Greg, I thought everybody got their moments. Gallus does pin Xavier Woods, so that's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Okay.
Xavier Woods lays down in the match for them. Kofi did a dive out to the whoever was out there. I think it was pretty deadly and actually ate their finisher from them. So New Day going out on their sword, as they say in that match. But Kiana James and Fallon Henley end up defeating Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. And I think that means, Greg, we got to move those two girls, Carter and Chance, up to the main roster and let them, do some things with tag teams up there. So I'm guessing that's why you did it. I believe it was Fallon helping keep the legs down of Chance to let Kiana James get the pin. So you could do another match and then, let, like I said, Kaden, Carter, and Katana Chance could go up and challenge the women's champions up there because I think it's time for them. So,
So illegally holding down the legs from like off the
off to the, how they're like usually under the ropes.
Yeah.
And she's off to the side of the ring apron. So, kind of doing that to let Kiana James get the win. And then they're going to go celebrate. They know a bar, Greg, where they can celebrate. So that's good.
Yeah. So interesting that they're going to pivot into being sound like a heel tag team because
I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like, I guess we'll have to see which way they go. Do they win a straight up match against them and kind of let that be? Because I don't think they should be heel, but so
yeah. But that's what happened last week because when Fallon was in the process of getting the pinfall, it was Kiana that was doing something shady
that's true.
To set that up, and then now it looks like the other partner did the same thing.
Yeah, so maybe they are
this time.
Yeah.
So it smells like a heel work to me.
Yeah. Carmelo Hayes defeated Apollo Crews 2 out of 3, and he swept it. Now the big thing there was Cato Greg came back, took out Apollo Crews at the end of this match. So if you remember Cato, which I completely forgot he existed, he's back. He was with Apollo Crews as the heavy guy when they were doing the Nigerian thing.
Commander Aziz.
Yeah, so we'll get Cato back, probably doing some work with Apollo Crews. Carmelo Hayes, comes out smelling like a rose, of course. He gets the win there. Like I said, Gallus defeats New Day. Roxanne defeats Gigi and JC. They fought a lot together and against each other. I'm guessing, Greg, we're probably going to get Cora and Roxanne for Stand and Deliver. Is that where you think we should go things at or do things next for Roxanne and WrestleMania weekend?
Yeah, because this was putting a bow on a lot of WrestleMania plans because now you have the way clear for Cora with Toxic Attraction. That chapter is wrapped up and done. You figure New Day going to have something to do with the with WrestleMania, with them dropping the titles and passing the torch to Gallus by eating the pin and sort of clearing the lane and going to have them. They came back down, they did their yeoman's work, and now it's time for them to get ready for WrestleMania, and that gives me hope because I want to see the New Day at WrestleMania. New Day always shines at WrestleMania, and you're going to save probably Katana and Caden for. Always get the same girls, but Caden and
Katana.
They need to change their names.
KK. Does Toxic Attraction make the call up too soon, do you think, Greg? I mean, there's really nothing for them to do down there anymore. I mean, we could do the one-on-one match between Gigi and JC, but I don't think we need to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is they need to just bring Toxic Attraction and KK up to the main roster for night after WrestleMania, and helping to strengthen that talent pool in the women's division is important. So,
And if you
they're
want to build
ready.
up tag team champions, I mean, you got 2 former down there and build them up.
Right. So, they've done their work in NXT. Let them take the next month and a half off and get ready for Raw after Mania. So, I think
And
that'll
then
work
Braun
out.
Breaker defeated Grayson Waller. I mean, Carmelo Hayes came at the end to kind of, show out that he wants to go after Braun Breaker. So I think that's our WrestleMania weekend match right there. Grayson Waller, he's got to move up too, right? I mean, there's nothing more for him to do down there. I mean, I'd almost move him up now. I mean, now there was an interesting after video, Greg, where Shawn Michaels was doing a press conference, with like a Facebook Live or Twitter Live, whatever they do there. And Grayson Waller came in the room and was like yapping at Shawn Michaels the whole time. So, you got to think there's going to be built up something there. Definitely not saying Shawn Michaels versus Grayson Waller, but maybe some match that Grayson has to win or he's gone. I'm guessing because that seems to make the most sense. But I kind of like to see Grayson Waller set them on the main roster for WrestleMania weekend. I know it's soon, but why not? He's ready. He's already done some stuff with AJ Styles down there, Greg. So
True.
I think you could do, throw him in, some match, kind of see what he could do. So, but it feels like it'll get Braun Breaker, Carmelo. Hey, and then that's the thing too. Do you finally let the record reign of Braun Breaker stop at, Stand and Deliver, or do you have, Braun keep going, Greg? So, a couple questions there, but yeah, Grayson Waller's ready for the main roster, right?
Yeah, he is. I mean, since the debut of 2.0, Grayson Waller's probably been one of the most standout guys among maybe 2 or 3 people. And yeah, he's been consistent. He hasn't been continuously injured like so many other people, and he's improved month by month over month. And he's defined his character. He's gone away from being, the boxer, the stereotype gimmick that Vince gave him,
Now he's just
to
a straight up character.
right, and he's relatable. He's that guy. We always see him and want to punch him in the face, kind of like Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And but it comes off more authentic now, and it seems like this is the guy who you would meet if you saw him in real life. That this is the guy he would be, and it's not a put on, coming out in boxing trunks and pretending he's still a boxer and all that stuff. And the kid has the athleticism. He's got the looks. He can cut a good promo, and he can be a great heel, and that's what you need. Guys who can buy into the whole, being a great heel, hook, line, sinker, and that's what's going to bring us in. And my comparison is The Miz, and I can see him coming up and challenging Miz, and I have my Grayson Waller Effect show, and you have yours. There's not room for both of our shows, that kind of thing, and just have a battle to see who gets to take over the show.
Yeah.
And something like that, something simple, but it's
The
Miz.
Miz will do it too.
Right, for all that he is a star. He's big time. Everybody gets into welcome to Miz TV, blah blah blah, and he'd be a great barrier to entry for Grayson Waller. Great name to get your first pin, and your first rival with some stakes on it. And even if it's a stake as small as having your own show. So, and Miz does what Miz does. He'll pivot and he'll do something else, and it'll be great. So, I can see something like that happening for him. But Waller is definitely ready. Bring him up, get him involved with a Miz or Gargano. That would be another idea, because we haven't seen Gargano have a Gargano match yet, like he did when he was fighting Champa and everybody in the black and gold. So, have one of those throwback type of matches with a guy like Waller would put them both, you know, big time on the map. So, plenty of directions you can go at Waller.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it was a great get out of the PC, get out of the performance center type show, and of course, I think staying and deliver will kind of give you that energy as well. Even whatever time it is on that Saturday before WrestleMania, we're gonna have a long day that day, Greg. So
No
we'll have
kidding.
to figure out all the logistics of that weekend and whatnot. So, the other news that I kind of saw was here, Bloomberg, which is a big newspaper, has heard from a person familiar with management thinking that AEW is considering the idea of starting a streaming service. Well, no, shoot, Sherlock. This is the biggest. This needs to happen sooner rather than later, Greg. If it's through Warner Brothers, that's fine. Whoever it's with, just get a streaming. Put the ROH edition on there. Have that start. Now, I guess the other question: do you think they would stick to traditional pay per view still to join doing 4 throughout the year, or would they try to maybe charge more for the streaming service and then keep the do pay-per-views on that streaming service? So which direction do you think they would end up going ultimately, Greg?
Well, I think they should take the cue of WWE and what they've done with WWE Network,
Mm-hmm.
and for I forgot what it is now. Because it's on Peacock, but before then it was $9.99 a month, and you got to see everything.
Yep.
You got the pay-per-views, because I don't want to pay $60 to watch a pay-per-view. I don't care what sport it is. So I don't even watch UFC pay-per-views until unless I go to the sports bar or watch it after the fact. So I think the era of pay-per-views, unless you're talking about big money boxing or something like that, is going the way of the dodo. So um, this is the best way to do it. Have a monthly subscription service like WWE Network was. $5.99, get a lot more people buy in. You can charge more for advertising, but you get more eyeballs on the product for people like me who aren't going to pay $60 to watch a pay-per-view. So for $5.99, yes, I'll subscribe for every month and get my all in, all out, and all the big shows included. It'd be well worth it than just stream the Dynamite Rampage and then still have to pay for the big shows, the big pay-per-views on the side too. It's just too much. So I think they should take a cue from WWE Network and do what they do, and you'll increase your revenue, you'll increase your eyeballs, and it'll be good for everybody.
Yeah, you got to think there's enough archives out there now with all the dark, all the elevation. I mean, some of those shows are 3 and 4 hours, Greg. So yeah, you think there's plenty to put on this network if you started. So
Yeah.
I guess ROH would be the interesting one because Fight Club or WatchROH.com has the Honor Club, which is a streaming for watching all the ROH stuff. So, would you combine that somehow and maybe charge $10, $12 just because of that? But I'd much rather charge a monthly fee to watch pay-per-views than, like you said, $60, for the 4 major pay-per-views. But
And this would be a great time with to include ROH and package. You could be able to charge maybe $2 more. So instead of saying $5.99, say $7.99, but you get AEW and the whole the whole library of Ring of Honor, because you're going all the way back to early Punk and early Danielson and early Young Bucks and early Briscoe brothers. One of my regrets now is that I didn't catch on with the Briscoe brothers a long time ago, and their whole career was in Ring of Honor, and I'm starting to get into the wormhole, going back and watching some of their earlier matches, their Ring of Honor matches. So if I was they brought that platform out and say you get AEW and all of Ring of Honor, I'd do it just so I could go and see those Briscoe matches that were, some of them have become really infamous. So, you have that you can put out there, especially right now that, the death of Jay is still fresh in everybody's minds, and you can capitalize on that, not to, they'll say it's for for money, but it's a great selling point. Because a lot of people like me just getting there, got that first taste. Probably not with the dog collar match that they had with the FTR.
Yep.
But no, there was 3 of those matches, and then now we know more about the legacy of the Briscoe brothers and Ring of Honor as a whole, and that would be a huge reason for me to pay a couple extra dollars to get that whole library so I can go back and watch their matches and the early Punk matches and the early Danielson matches and the early Bucks matches, early Adam Cole. So just so much more meat on the bone when you throw in all of it. So I think that's a great way to go.
And maybe start it, weekend of All Out, and have All Out be your premier event on there that weekend. So
Right.
we shall see. But I mean, it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later, just because of, like you said, all the other streaming services, and just add another streaming service to my plethora of streaming services. So,
Yeah.
that was kind of the big news. Obviously, Vengeance Day was big news, and then this kind of came out. It's like, well, yeah, this has been talked about so many different times. Hopefully, finally, it starts showing into something, Greg. Did you have anything else on your end, or then we'll get into a quick commercial break between? Then we'll talk Raw and SmackDown.
Nope, ready to go. So
all right, we'll do a quick
WWE.
commercial break and get right into Raw and SmackDown talk. All righty, we had a busy Raw. I mean, you just look at our recap here, Greg. Look at all these matches, but I'm going to tie things together to make it a little bit easier to bear with us. So let's talk about first. We're going to get a Elimination Chamber match, Greg, for the U.S. title. What are we feeling about that? You have the IC title right there. Oh, anyways.
I know it makes sense, but Gunther's had his star-making performance with the Royal Rumble.
That's true. So now we've got to let Theory cook in a chamber match and see what he could do there.
Yeah, it's Theory's turn now because Gunther's had a huge platform as the IC champion, and going wire to wire in the Royal Rumble is something that's only been done a couple times. So he's getting much love, much well-deserved love for what he did in the Rumble, and now Austin Theory has been cast off into the background when the U.S. Championship is supposed to be the workhorse championship, and so now it's time to give him his star-making moment. So will he live up to it? We'll see. But this is his moment now. So I understand it. It's probably a first time that stipulation has happened where the U.S. title is defended in the Elimination Chamber.
At IC, that was Ryback. Anyways, then we've had tag team titles. I want the tag team titles back in there because that match was ridiculous, Greg, when they did that. I believe you had Sin Cara or Kalisto coming from the top of the cage, just doing a nice little moonsault type deal. But that was the pay-per-view where they did the IC title and the tag team title. They just got away from the usual. So I kind of like that aspect. But yeah, I mean it's like we said, and Gunther's going to have his WrestleMania match. I mean, Greg, the plan is him versus Sheamus versus Drew. So that match is gonna we're all gonna be, rubbing our chest after that match because we're all gonna feel it. But so far we have Seth freaking Rollins in the match, obviously, Greg. We have Johnny Gargano, which I thought was a bit of a surprise. I mean, he keeps getting beat by Baron Corbin, but so you'll finally give him in that match. This could be your opportunity, Greg, to see, the Gargano of old do some, good stuff in there. And then Bronson Reed. So we're getting some different names in there. I'll give credit for that. Then there, you got to think Lashley will find his way in there. He attacked Austin Theory on the VIP lounge. Now, and then so we have Theory, Rollins, Gargano, Bronson Reed, Lashley, and then whoever you want to throw in as a sixth guy, we'll go with that. So, what the three names officially announced, Greg? We're all good with all those names.
Yeah, for sure. We can see all those guys as guys that can beat him, and when you got that in there, it just makes the whole thing more exciting. So, and it's one of those chambers where it's not one guy who's the definitive, okay, this guy is going to win, because we can all see, Lashley or Rollins, beating him, but are they going to get in their own way and, ruin it for the other guy? So you can say that pretty much for, the five guys that are already in here. And then we probably have a wild card coming in as the sixth man who could, gum up things even worse. So, love what they're doing. And with Theory being the, not the cowardly heel, but the, that different new era kind of heel. Is he going to find a way to get it done? So, very cool storylines happening here, and the upstart, even as a heel, seeing if he can find a way past these crafty veterans who are, as we see, better than he is, and come out victorious. So, all fun storylines to watch.
All right. So we got those kind of out of the way. Io Sky defeated Candice LeRae. Not much there. Rhea Ripley, though, challenging Charlotte Flair. Were you surprised by that, Greg?
No.
No.
Because if she wants to show she is the woman, that's who you got to go after. And with her push she's getting right now, and the storyline that she has already there with, her coming up from NXT, being the woman and challenging Charlotte and losing, there's that backstory already there. It's already being told, and this is her chance to redeem herself for that WrestleMania loss to Charlotte. So, and
does that move Judgment Day around, or do you think they'll just? Because I'm hoping she beats Charlotte, right?
Right, and that's what we've been saying. Judgment Day needs championships. So, if Rhea is the first one to get a championship, it's actually kind of fitting, because the work she's done in building them up. Exactly.
So
I can
move her back and forth, I guess, if you really want, or just maybe she's the Judgment Day presence on SmackDown. Maybe her. I'm guessing her and Dom will go there, because you got Rey Mysterio, Greg, on SmackDown. So, what else? Oh, so let's then we'll tie in all the loose ends. Well, Rick Boogs is back. Whatever. Yay.
Right.
He is impressive, Greg, with his physique, because you see the guy and you're like, oh, but then you look at his body, and his shoulders would be out of my camera frame, like his across his wingspan type deal. So he's come back though. Becky Lynch also, tried to put the screws to who was it? Dakota Kai with the steel chair. So Bailey agrees to the match. So we'll finally get that match, Greg, the steel cage match in Orlando, home of NXT-ish type stuff. So I think we'll get. That probably should main event, Monday night, and let that be the main event of Monday Night Raw. So coming this week. So, but let's get into the Cody Rhodes stuff. So he's official, Greg. The Rock is out. I'm calling it now, Greg. You could keep telling me it's a red herring, but this is as official as it could be. But it's Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania Night 2. Now the Judgment Day came out there. Cody Rhodes defeated Finn. I thought a good return match, like full out match for Cody Rhodes to get back into. You had Edge and Beth Phoenix. So I'm guessing we'll see some sort of, alliance there. Maybe we'll get Cody and Edge in a tag team match against, Finn and Damian or Finn and Dom, just kind of let that play out. But The Rock is opening up maybe next year, Greg, but that ship has sailed on the Roman match, I think, if you do it next
year.
you could still hope. I mean, maybe The Rock shows up at the end of the night of, maybe Roman retains. I mean, I guess we can't put it past them, Greg, but I mean, everything was right there. So you can't do it next year, can you? I mean, you can. I mean, you can, but it just wouldn't feel as special, I think. Right. It would take a lot.
This was the time to do it, and shame on you, Rock, for not being ready for when this happened, because we've been talking about it since last year, knowing that WrestleMania was going to be in Hollywood, and we're all thinking it, we're all writing about it, we're all talking about it. Everybody was, prepping for it.
He had to hear it, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely. So shame on you, Rock, for not being ready, because you want to add millions to your bank account. This is the way to do it. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to take my horse behind the barn and finally shoot it or take my Brahma bull behind the barn and shoot it, because
no more beating the dead horse. Yeah,
right. It's especially after SmackDown that I just got caught up on with this morning with that happening. Okay, now I'm gonna have to bury the Rock and say that it's not gonna happen. And we have issues going on with Sammy. We got issues going on with Cody. So yeah, the Rock's not happening now. Finally getting off that horse, and I'm gonna do this to the Rock. Shame on you, but
I mean, we got to give him and I'll give him credit though, Greg. If he really thought he couldn't get ready, then good, because he does. I mean, he is that type that either wants to go out and deliver or not going to do it at all. It's like Stone Cold. Like Stone Cold wasn't going to come back, Greg, to just do a 3-minute match with Kevin Owens or anybody. He was going to come back and deliver. So we'll give the Rock. Well, I'll give the Rock credit that if you want to throw your hat in there as well, Greg. And then at the same time, we cannot do Cody, Sammy, and Roman at Mania. It's got to be Cody versus Roman.
Right.
Sammy's getting his moment at Elimination Chamber, and then it's got to be we'll go from there. But what do we think about the Judgment Day? I like the Judgment Day being involved in this stuff, Greg, because it pushes them up a little bit higher on the card. I'm guessing Edge and Beth versus it might be Dom and Rhea, right? Maybe we aren't going to get the Ray versus Dom match yet at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and we all know that Ray is legit injured, so that could have something to do with it. And there's enough backstory going on with Edge, Beth, and Rhea. And it only makes sense to put Dom in there. I think we would love to see Dom and Rhea tag together, because we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So it would be fun. Everybody would be in on it. Would love it. Just to see how Rhea and Dom work together, with Dom playing the cowardly heel, and seeing how he can hold his own in a match with Edge and Beth. So
I guess at Elimination Chamber we need to see that. Sorry, because Rhea's doing the match with Charlotte. So yeah, I think we need to do that at Elimination Chamber. So Ray did have time to go drive a NASCAR though against Dom, Greg. That's cool.
Hey, there was
they're really thinking of any way to not let them touch each other yet, aren't they? I mean, I'll give WWE credit. We're really drawing up. We're going to the yellow legal pads to figure out what we can do before they'll finally touch. And a NASCAR race though was not on my list of things that they would do, Greg. So, because we were going with the holiday idea, but Valentine's Day is coming up, so we'll have to see if maybe Rhea and Dom, or maybe if Angela and Ray are at a little fancy restaurant and Rhea and Dom show up there, maybe.
Hey,
Our hotel. Can we do the hotel aspect? We haven't had a good hotel fight, have we, lately?
No, I mean, because all hotel scenes in WWE always go great, right? So
are always so funny. You room service and then boom. So let's get into SmackDown because we did talk about Sami Zayn, but first, Greg, Braun Strowman, Ricochet are new SmackDown contenders, and I guess the big storyline is, will Jay show up? He's not been he's been ignoring the calls of Jimmy and Solo and even the head chief Roman, Greg. So Jay's getting in a little hot water there. So will Jay show up to the tag team match next week?
I know. I like it. It's an interesting wrinkle to put in there. I'm giving props for raising up Braun and Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to see my hashtag Justice for Ricochet is paying off. It's been paying off for a while.
Yep.
And I was surprised that, well, not really surprised because they've been doing a great job of building Braun and Ricochet, and the people are getting behind it. I mean, they were popping pretty good for those spots in that match against Imperium, and they're starting to look like a real team instead of just two guys thrown together from randomly, which still is what they are, but actually working like a team and give them enough time, they could have an RKO-ish effect.
Right. Yeah.
There would still need to be some angle or some pieces that need to be put together. I mean, RK Bro was great on the mic and with the backstage segments and things like that. The chemistry, yeah. So if they can portray that with Braun and Ricochet, then you got something. But they're on the right path.
Braun says he doesn't like doing flippy shit, and now he ends up with a flip-flop tag team partner. Man, what a great way to go. So Charlotte defeated. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree that the fun part of it is now is Jay going to come up and support his brother?
I think you have to have him not show up, right? I think you got to play it out another week.
I could see him not showing up and them having the Freebird rule Solo into the match, and then that draws
Maybe
more.
They retain it anyway,
right? But that makes the bigger rift, and now you have a who where's Jay angle going on.
Because the crazy thing is Jimmy and Jay, I think, can't get into Canada because of DUIs on their record. So, an Elimination Chamber, we'll have to see, does Solo and Roman just go to town, on Sami Zayn at the end of the match, and that's why KO makes the save. I think that's where you'll go with that. Or maybe Jimmy can go, but I'm pretty sure Jay cannot get up there no matter what. So, I think that's why they were kind of writing Jay out for a little bit, just to kind of let that simmer under the surface. But I mean, I'm okay with Solo has to jump in there, defend it, even though the downfall is he's never had to be in there, like the Dom stuff. At least he kind of fits in. We've never had Solo really tagging up with them, but we'll have to see what that storyline goes. So, Charlotte defeated Sonya Deville. She keeps getting title match after title match after title match. Greg, when in the world is it going to end for her, for Sonya? What is the end game? I don't get it.
I don't either. Hopefully this was it, the last stand, and we're done with it. But I have a feeling that we're not.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is.
I'm clueless as you are on this one.
Yeah. So the Viking Raiders defeated Brawling Brutes, but we have Drew and Sheamus come back to even the odds. Does it feel like the Brawling Brutes are going to kind of go to do their own thing, Greg, from Sheamus and Drew now?
It looks that way. I mean, Sheamus, who knows how long Sheamus is going to be out? Well, not out, but team with Drew.
Yeah.
So out of the Brutes framework. So it's better to let Butch, I keep wanting to call him Pete Dunne. So Triple H give him his name back. Let Pete Dunne and good grief.
Yeah.
Big boy
Ridge.
Ridge.
Yeah, Ridge. Ridge and Butch. Butch and Sundance.
Exactly. Let them go do their own thing and just be, affiliates of Sheamus, and let him and Drew do the thing. You get 2 tag teams out of it, so why not?
Especially like we said, I think the plan is Gunther versus Drew versus Sheamus at Mania, so that kind of keeps that separate. Of all the names to win this Fatal 4-Way match, Natalya, Greg, was on my low end, if even any end, but she ends up winning the match. She'll be the Elimination Chamber match, which right now, it's always funny when they just announce women, but then they always have, a couple matches to fight for it. So right now we have Nikki Cross, Raquel, Asuka, Natalya, Liv Morgan, and then we'll see a Fatal 4-Way. I believe Carmella, is it Candice and Mia Yim on Raw, or whatever Fatal 4-Way it is. So yeah. What do we think about Natalya winning that? Not that I didn't think Shayna would win it, Greg. I think we're doing the Shayna Ronda thing at some point together as a tag team. But Shotzi or Selena in there, come on, like,
yeah.
Natalya's been in, I don't know. I'm over Natalya. I've been over Natalya for a while. Anyways, her winning this match, I was like, really? Like, then she celebrates in the crowd because we never know which direction Natalya should be, Greg.
Yeah, she's
one day she's heel, the next week she's a face.
Exactly. She changes characters like she changes clothes. So I was a little bit different that I saw that Shayna or Natalya be the winner of the match just because I can't picture Zelina being in it, and I can picture Shotzi in it. So it wasn't a surprise to me that she ended up getting the win. I thought if she was going to win, it would have been using heel tactics, because that's what we remember her as most recently. But I'm fine with it. She's the veteran, probably the locker room leader on the women's side. Haven't been there the longest, so it is what it is. She'll get some good, strong woman type spots in the match. So
does Alexa Bliss grab that last spot? Probably.
I don't see it. I think that her trajectory with Bray Wyatt
heading somewhere else
is going to leave. Yeah, going to leave her out of this match. I'm thinking Carmella is the one who's going to end up getting the win. Just kind of
let her have get some in ring.
Her reintroduction, her spotlight, because she's been, off air for quite a while and for good reason, than what she's just gone through. But this is a good way to, get eyeballs back on her again. Give her some love, give her some limelight, and let the fans welcome her back and let her feel that. So I think she's the one who's going to end up winning the 4-Way on Monday.
Would you say Raquel is the favorite then to win this Elimination Chamber right now? We get Raquel and Bianca at Mania.
Yeah, I think that's the favorite. Which is going to be tricky with them both being babyface.
Yeah.
So,
and and still relatively well, Bianca's had her moments, but Raquel hasn't yet. So
yeah, and it's the female hoss fight, which we don't see very often. So,
I could see Bliss stealing somebody's spot. Yeah, if she steals Natalya's spot, give me it. Do that whole maybe she just shows that maybe the lights go out, and she's in the pod with Natalya or something like that, Greg. As her new full out whatever she's going to
Right.
be next. So, I could see that happening. But yeah, so I do think Raquel right now that was the favorite. But like you said, that should be interesting to see which direction they go. Do you have Raquel look good in defeat, or does Raquel overcome Bianca? Because Bianca's already had 2 WrestleMania. I think she's had 2 WrestleMania moments because she got the main event with Sasha, and then she had a big match last year, I believe, too. So we'll kind of see which direction they go there. But it is all about Greg, Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn. Huge reaction coming back with the hood on. Give him all his music back, Greg. Give me the ska.
Yes.
Give me a ska live version at Mania or something like that. But Sami Zayn, takes out Roman for a minute, and then Roman, we get Solo we get Jimmy put in a chair. Solo goes, but Roman's like, nope, we're doing this in Montreal, and I'm just going to beat you down in front of everybody. And notice he didn't say Kevin Owens. He just had family and friends, but we can all assume this will lead to the reunion. Now, Greg, of course, the internet's going crazy. They say Sami should win. Sami should do this, but they got to see the bigger picture. It's all about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and that's a big moment. I mean, we've never seen them win tag team titles together on the main roster, so I feel like that would be a bigger moment for them to do that. So, what do you think about the last segment, Greg, with Roman, with Sami, with Jimmy, and with Solo?
Yeah, it was great. It was perfectly done as far as Sami coming in and not being a wuss and showing fierce Sami. Even though he sneaks in the hood and the big reveal and the crowd pops for it.
I mean, I almost thought it was going to be Owens again because Owens seems that type to do that. So it's cool to see Sami being the guy to do it.
Yeah, he would have, but seeing Sami do it was great, and then Sami pick up the mic and not hearing the sniveling and scheming and kiss up Sami, and he actually had some fire in his voice, and we haven't heard him cut a promo like that on anybody in a long time. I don't remember the last time he cut a promo like that on somebody. Even when he was involved with Johnny Knoxville and involved with the guys before that, he had some fire in his voice, and you could feel it. And he looked different while he was, cutting that promo on Roman and saying, "Now I want your title," and everybody ate it and loved it, and the pop's huge. So it was a great finish. The Solo and Jimmy getting involved, and Roman telling them
they got out of catering. They had those steaks back there. I guess the steaks weren't that good.
Right. They got their bag pretty quick. But this is going to be great because, like you said, it's going to end up with the Sami and KO reunion. You can always see the clue with the new T-shirt.
With Sami is Zayn.
Right, Zayn on the duct tape. So love that little.
How about the Roman new T-shirt with just him and Heyman on it?
That is very cool.
That could be telling too. Maybe the implode is happens at Mania, and we'll see a whole new side of Roman. That's either when Roman loses the titles, Greg. That's when we're really got to see what direction Roman can go.
This is perfect party planning with WWE, with this being in Canada and this huge match going down, and now, like I said, Roman wins and goes in for the kill shot. KO gets the save, and that moment that they vanquish Roman and the Bloodline and then stand across the ring from each other, with that tension building until they come across and have the strongest man hug you've ever seen, and all of Canada.
Best friends are going to be jealous, Greg.
Right.
Danhausen, Chuck Taylor, you got to give the people what they want. I wonder who. I'll be curious. If if you have Corey Graves on commentary, Greg, I could see him sneaking that in somehow. Because Graves is pretty, he's pretty, he's with the nose. So,
how awesome would it be to have that? Yeah, even if you don't get the camera shot,
but you just say that live.
Yeah, got to give the people what they want. It would be amazing because the place is going to be blowing up the moment that hug happens, and we all know that's what's going to happen. Sammy's going to lose, but he's going to gain his best friend back, and the place is going to go wild.
A pay-per-view. Like, who would have ever predicted when Sami Zayn started he'd main event a pay-per-view? I mean,
right.
Because even his NXT run, Greg, was cut short thanks to Kevin Owens. So, his big NXT moment was short-lived. So he'll finally, hopefully get that big moment in Montreal, Canada in front of the hometown. I mean, that, it'll be interesting to, we know the CM Punk chance in Chicago, Greg. This Sami Zayn in Montreal might rival that, right? I mean, it's probably going to be a deafening experience because Canada's crazy anyway. So it's going to be interesting to really see what kind of volume they'll get for that. So
but Triple H, please give me the old Sammy music, all of it.
Yes.
And the Sammy dance when he comes out. I need it. I need it. I need it. Mm-hmm. I've gotten accustomed to the new Sammy music with the Uso, with the bloodline theme to it. But, we can kick that now. We can go back to the old ska Sammy entrance. Please give me that. I'm putting it out into the universe right now, and especially out to you, Triple H. Give me that. Give us that. Especially in Canada, the place is going to go ballistic.
Sing along with it, and
exactly. And so now the other question is that we know this is headed towards KO and Sammy coming back together, but Sammy's like, I want your championship, not the tag team championships. He wants Roman's championship. So how is that going to work?
Well, I think that's it. I mean, this is it. This is his match to try to do it at the Elimination Chamber, Greg. Then you kind of
then when they came and saying they didn't go to the tag team. So yeah.
I mean, because it's for the titles now. So I don't think you need to give him another title match after the fact that he's got a title. You know what? He's not Sonya Deville, Greg. He can't keep getting title matches out of nowhere. So you give him one. I mean, I know it's
okay
because you give him one shot, and then maybe down the road, maybe he does overcome whoever. Maybe Royal Rumble next year. I don't know. I feel like I mean, all the rumblings are though that they're just seeing this as a great moment for Sammy, and this this is what he wants. So
now I see it. He has a banger with Roman, and then takes the beat down.
I mean, even if you wanted to, could you do a I hate saying dusty finish, but like the Jericho where he won the title, but then
right.
Could you do? I mean, would that ruin the moment for Roman? Would that ruin the title reign? Not because then that would have Sammy pinning him instead of Cody at Mania. But so I don't know what we'll do. But this is like you said, I think a good 15, 20-minute barn burn of a match. Sammy with close calls. As close as you can. Get Roman to have the shoulder at 2.99999. That type of counting, Greg. So Sammy, eating some spears but coming back. Sammy eating some Superman punches, but this is all about KO coming to the save, and then like you said, that hug, that embrace, that handshake, and then going after the Usos for Mania because that you're tearing at the tree trunk, of the tree.
Right.
You're going to knock it down. Sometimes you got to chop a few small pieces, Greg, to start that tree down. So
true.
I don't.
And maybe the Usos' interference is, causes disqualification. Sammy wins, but doesn't get the title. So
because Roman did lose at Royal Rumble, but didn't lose the titles, which kind of gets by the way. I just don't. I guess I almost want a clean finish just because of how close it is to Mania. Like I want Cody to be that guy. Let Cody have the story. All of WrestleMania, to kind of cook. So. it is going to be, I guess we'll have to see how they'll pivot from it, Greg. But um, people have to, I get it's organic and all this, but it's Cody Rhodes, and he said all along he wants that title. So how can you deny him that? And I think throwing Samian is there in there would just kind of not, we like you said, Greg, one on one is the best match, especially with Roman going, So all right, well that is all we got on SmackDown. Let's do our next commercial break for Rogue Energy and get into some AEW talk, and then we'll wrap up the show here. All right, so we got some AEW talk, Greg. Moxley defeats Page in Dayton, Ohio. I'm guessing Revolution, last man standing between the two, and hopefully they both kind of move away from each other.
Yeah, I think so. Last man standing or a lights out match.
Yeah, something to just finally put the nail in the coffin of this feud.
Exactly.
Part of my pun for the end of the night, Greg, which I'll definitely get into because it's interesting developments there. But the Acclaim defeat some jobbers. We're finally going to get the Acclaim to Gun Club, Greg. Is Billy Gunn on his way out? Like totally? Like for legit? It feels like. Is he running to Papa H asking for a job?
I hope not. There's some mileage to be had if Papa Gunn, swerves the Acclaimed and causes the Gun Club to get the win, and then
win the titles.
Win the titles, yeah.
Okay.
And this way, you elevate the Guns.
And you already had the Acclaimed on a new level, so
exactly. And this brings.
But do we want to do a swerve for the third time? That's where it gets tricky. I mean, I guess if it gets a job done.
It's about two very young tag teams and Billy Gunn, the old established veteran who's been wrestling longer than these guys have been alive. So they're gullible enough to fall for it. Yeah. On both sides. So having him playing both sides of the fence is equivalent to Paul Heyman. Yeah. Pulling strings.
And of course him making the match. That's where I get like. I don't know if I want him swerving it again because he kind of threw the Acclaimed under the bus. Like they looked at him like, "Wait, we're defending them for real?" So yeah,
right.
But anyways, how about Takeshita getting his biggest win to date, Greg, against Brian Cage? That I was very surprised by that. Brian Cage is eating a cup. At least Brian Cage is back on TV. We got to give him that, and he comes out with the trios title. I always forget that he's trios champion with the other two guys, Greg, whatever the Embassy, whatever their names are. But Takeshita and Cage put on hell of a match, and this Takeshita, man, he's 27. That is so. This guy looks light years ahead of that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and that was one of my complaints from last week. Is that they're building him up as this new superstar, but every time he's in a match with somebody, he loses. So, we need to start getting him some wins, and boom, this week they go out and do it. He has a banger of a match with Cage, and, he finally gets the pin. And, if you're going to put this guy over as one of the next big things, you need to, give him some victories. And so this is a step in the right direction. And you could tell the crowd is into Takeshita and putting him into the mix with MJF and his rolling band of cronies that he's hiring to take out Danielson is a great way to get more people behind them and gather that organic fan support. So love what they're doing right now and killer match.
Roosh is the next face for the next challenge for Bryan Danielson, and I think that would be a ridiculously good match. Which we saw Danielson pin Timothy Thatcher, still with the never got those teeth fixed yet, Greg. So Timothy Thatcher still rocking that chipped tooth or chipped teeth, a couple chipped teeth, but really strong match there. And like I said, you got Roosh being the next. Well, I guess that'd be the final one before Revolution. Or no, Revolution is in. What they say, March 5th.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll still have, but I thought they said the next month, Danielson. So I wonder how many more they'll have. But good match for Bryan Danielson to win, and I mean he's going to keep winning, right, Greg? Unless we want to put a kink in the works and maybe have him go through some other hoop to get to this match.
Well, the end game is that we're getting the Iron Man match no matter what. So, yeah, you expect him to keep rolling, but even if he loses, he's going to find a way to get that match.
Yeah. Now, how about Jade? She's 50-0 now. Are we just going to bump this to 100-0?
Well, it's the only thing that makes sense now because I had the perfect game plan for number 50.
I still want Statlander to be the one, but I mean, I guess 50-0. You could because we've had we had the other one where who was it trying to get their 50th win? We stopped that a couple times.
Yeah, did that with Cheetah.
Cheetah, yeah, with Serena. Was that Serena Deeb?
Yeah.
We haven't seen her in a while. I wonder where she hasn't been on TV. But anyways, yeah, I still think Chris Statlander needs to be the one to stop this, Greg.
Yep. I mean, I put out the perfect game plan and they didn't follow it, but I guess the next big number would have to be 75 before you get to 100. So, 75 could be significant because you're 3/4 of the way there. But I guess, numerically, 100, it's going to have 50 matches this year.
Yeah.
It could be possible unless you include like dark matches and stuff like that. And
just
you'd have to win 2 matches a week.
100. Oh, it's 200-0 after a week. 173-1 or whatever it was. So, and then how about the end, Greg? I was very surprised to see Samoa Joe get the title back. We have Wardlow show back up, looking fresh, looking cut. Is this it now? And then it was funny how they're like, well, we never see this happen where they, rip up the. I mean, some of the spots do take forever, though, Greg. The ripping of every cord to get that, to get the canvas up, to get the wood up, get the padding up, and then you have the wood exposed. But we got, does Wardlow get his title back? I mean, I guess beating Samoa Joe, is that going to salvage him?
I think it's going to take a couple tries. He's probably going to lose that first match and then, get it on the rebound.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the way to get Wardlow back into the spotlight, get his momentum back against, somebody as dominant as Joe, and just have 2 or 3 house fights, to reestablish him. Mm-hmm. So I totally get it. And from what I read, that Darby is about to get is in a movie or some type of, and he's going to take time off to be able to film his movie role. So, hence the reason for dropping the title now, weeks after getting it. And that's probably why they've been really pushing hard the story he's been defending week after week after week against these top level guys.
And to give it that,
you had to burn yourself out soon.
Hard match so you can ride him off the right way. So.
Exactly. So now he's going to go and
that should be in this movie. Him in a movie. It's not the Crow reboot, is it? I don't know what other.
Sign me up if it is.
I wonder what. Yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of movie. Hopefully, it's a comedy. I want to see his comedy chops, Greg.
There you go. A rom-com at that. Give me a rom-com.
Yes, a rom-com with a half face paint. The Crow romantic comedy. There we go. We're gonna start a new podcast. Throw movie ideas out. The worst movie ideas I could think of. So, that would explain why. Because I was very surprised that Samoa Joe gets it back, busted up as he was in that match.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic match too. Holy cow!
yeah. A lot of different hard hitting spots. And I mean, I do. I'll admit that I pop for the exposing the wood pop, spots, but
well, I popped for the thumbtack jacket. That was something I haven't seen before. So,
and coming out, having it right away.
right.
Not like the Young Bucks where you unveil them afterwards, but that was and hoodlum type stuff. So and then Samoa Joe could not get what was it? They had couldn't get the jacket off though, right? Or there was a little. I think he was trying to put the jacket on himself, or there was a weird 2 or 3 minute fiasco with the jacket. But our Darby Allin was trying to put it back on, and he was struggling when he was standing on the top of the turnbuckle. Yeah. It was all twisted. So, yeah. Big Ben is in the chat, so thank you, Big Ben, for being here. Hopefully, he enjoyed his time at Raw 30 there. So,
nice. That's good, Ben.
Yep. Let's do some Rampage stuff, Greg. The Elite win. Good for them to pick up a win. Swerve Strickland. We're talking. He's going to be the next top heel, or if he's not already, Greg. They're really grooming him, right, to be the next super heel.
Yeah, I'm liking what he's doing, and his new clique. Mogul Affiliates, cool name, cool look, and
I think the one guy finally has a name. The other guy, but of course I can't remember it because I just called him the other guy.
Exactly.
They gave him some name, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give him some ring time now, so we can get familiar with what they do. So we know
even if you do tag team match, him and Parker, do some tag team stuff. So, on the opposite end, we got Storm and Saraya as heels.
Yeah.
Is this working, Greg? Spray painting an L, a green L on the losers.
Right, and there's no
Storm just doesn't come across as a heel. There's something. I mean, I don't know. She's too likable or something.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do better than spray painting a couple of jobber girls.
Yeah.
You got a couple of NWO flashbacks right there, but it's like, what are they going to spray paint? Because we know what they're about to do, but spray painting the L's. All the millennials in the crowd are going,
what?
That's so 90s. What are they doing?
Yeah. Well, he's put on their forehead. No.
The kids these days don't do that.
Can they come out to All Star? Can we get Tony Khan? What is Smash Mouth doing? I know the lead singer was drunk somewhere on stage years ago, so I'm sure they're looking for a few bucks. Him and Scott Stapp of Creed, Greg, can go on the drunken tour together. But so and then Roosh picks up wins. So that was Rampage. Christopher Daniels, by the way, back on TV.
Right.
I think he's got some head job in the back because usually on BTE he shows up as talent relations or something like that, Greg. So I think he legit has a title backstage. But good to see him back. I mean, still sporting. It was good.
It was cool to see him, but I thought that he wasn't allowed on TV anymore. But that was that he and Kazarian couldn't tag anymore.
Yeah.
As a tag team, so I guess he's still welcome.
We saw on Impact, right? I think Frankie Kazarian was on Impact at one point.
I don't know about recently. I know he has been an Impact wrestler.
Yeah, I think recently he showed up there at some, one of their Thursday shows. Maybe they can let him go back and forth. Anything else from Dynamite or Rampage that I missed, Greg, that you wanted to bring up?
Let's see if the notebook says. Nah, pretty much see.
Did you have
Well, so, but
any match of the years pop up on your notebook yet?
yeah, definitely not this week. Except I did enjoy the Moxley and Hangman
Yeah,
match. It was
like Hangman putting on the bulldog choke.
right. It was bloody and brutal and great finish. So really enjoyed that match. So it is one of the best AEW matches of the year so far. So considering we're in the first week of February, I'll put that on the top 5 list so far. The LA show was hands down their best show
That
this
had
year so
that had the
far.
feel of the old, like kind of, we always talk about the old black and gold NXT. I think that had the old AEW feel, because sometimes you miss those little energy they used to have. So,
Yeah,
and
and
finally, last call, Greg. Anything for the good of the matter that you want to bring up? How your son's looking? Are they still a few games out of the play-in tournament? Right?
they're treading water right now, trading wins and losses. Um, Booker is
Is he due
trending
back?
towards coming back next
Yeah,
week, possibly against Brooklyn.
yeah.
So that'll be a huge lift. And trade deadline is next week also. So it's going to be interesting to see if they
Do
can
we
make
even
some
want to bring up the
moves.
name that I hate with a passion that asked for a trade?
Yeah. Um,
That guy.
he's a head case for sure. Um,
And he
I
wants to
don't
go to
know what's wrong with the
LA.
boy.
And do we really want to? I mean, I guess for the drama, we want to put him and Westbrook together, right?
Oh my God, they would kill each other in the first quarter. There are not enough basketballs for Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving. So
And LeBron
and LeBron,
and Anthony
exactly.
Davis, like that. That's a yeah.
You'd need 3 basketballs.
Uh, my
And
Pacers got Tyrese Halliburton back, Greg. He got the All Star nod. That was good to see. I went to the Kings game, the Pacers and Kings. So it was cool to see Domas Sabonis back. Demonte Sabonis. He got a nice little video tribute. Nice little
nice.
hand. I was thinking, man, him and Halliburton, Greg would be ridiculous together. But um, I mean, we traded All Star for an All Star essentially. So the trades that the Pacers have made because of circumstances have worked out. But it always is that, man. You just see what you could have had. But my Pacers are in the 10th spot. But it's crazy because I think there's like a couple games away from the 6th spot, or 4 games out of the 6th spot. So, you could go on a winning streak. That 6th seed could go on a losing streak, and you're right back. You're out of the play-in tournament. So, um, yeah. So I still think I want to be in the playoffs. Even if it is a play-in game. I think
Yeah,
that's because you can sell that to free agents. You could sell that to maybe a guy that wants out of a city, with, hey, look what we're building here. You could
yeah,
come here and help us get over the edge. So I don't know. I think that's better than saying, oh, well, we're going to get a lottery draft pick and hope this guy pans out. It's a crapshoot. And anymore, like we said, Greg, with the college game, I couldn't even tell you, what college guys. I know here in Indiana, I know all about Zach Edey of Purdue and Trace Jackson Davis of IU. Other than that, I couldn't tell you any other good college basketball player, even if you showed me their faces. Like, the
right. And
college game has just kind of gotten interesting.
yep. And I'm here in ACC country, the heart of college basketball. And
Yeah.
I
Oh, you had the
watched,
big game last night,
yeah,
Duke
I
and North
watched
Carolina.
first half of Duke and North Carolina. I watched that, in between flights. And
Mhm.
um, there's a couple guys that kind of stand out, but I don't know any of their names yet. Trying to get back into ACC basketball, but yeah,
Were
you're
they
right. You
both? Were
don't
they
know who the hot
ranked?
guy
Was
is
either
now.
team ranked?
I don't believe so.
That's like one of the
Um,
few times that neither team's been ranked, right?
I think they both have about 7 losses. Um, Duke did win, so I think their record is slightly better than Carolina's, but they both have a number of losses. NC State is actually better um, than Duke and Carolina. They have 18 wins. and probably only like 5 losses. So I love that because I'm born and raised in Raleigh, and
Then
Wolfpack
IU
blood is in my veins. So
knocked down #1 Purdue yesterday. So IU gets the better, and I think they play again in March at Purdue's venue, Mackey Arena. So we'll see, where Purdue ends up then and where IU ends up. But um, yeah, a real big energy there, Greg. I'm a fan of neither because I'm a Butler person, so I just
right,
know of it and just kind of follow it. But my Butler Bulldogs in college basketball have looked horrible in the Big East. I don't know. Being in the Big East has not been a smooth sailing to say the least for them. So yeah, but that's kind of
yeah,
that's my college basketball input. So we always have fun with the tournament. Everybody ends up picking teams, even if you have the person who's never watched an inch of college basketball in their life still picks
yeah.
teams. So that's always a fun time.
And I do consume quite a few um, podcasts, sports podcasts, wrestling podcasts,
Uh-huh.
things like that.
Do
Um,
the
on the
brackets.
drive back and forth to work, there is a new Talk is Jericho episode that came out last week that had
Okay.
the AEW wrestlers telling Jay Briscoe stories.
Okay, good.
They had Samoa Joe, the Young Bucks, Christopher Daniels, Jay Lethal,
Good.
Sanjay Dutt, and they were all telling just these great stories, and you got to hear a lot about who he was, out of the ring, and some of the great stories they told from the road. So it is definitely worth the listen if you get a chance to listen to it. The Talk is Jericho episode, um, fantastic, very emotional, and you could hear how much these guys loved him. Jay Lethal was getting choked up and crying in the ring. He was
Yeah.
even on the podcast. You could still hear him getting choked up,
Mhm.
along with some of the other guys. So if you get a chance to listen to that, it's awesome. And next payday, I'm getting that shirt, the tribute shirt, and the proceeds go to his family and his daughter's recovery. So, shout out to AEW shop and wherever you can get that T-shirt because I'm going to get mine as soon as I get the next chance.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we got. Enjoy the Pro Bowl if you watch it. Enjoy the whatever they got going on, and we'll get to NBA All Star Weekend soon, and maybe we'll think of some cool bracket stuff to do for March, Greg, and WWE when we're not talking about WrestleMania plans and all that stuff. So maybe we'll do our. I think we had our Superkickin It tournament last year with who was the best of the best. So maybe we could get our heads together and think of some new topic to throw brackets for this year and get that together. So,
Sounds like a
alrighty.
plan.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will be back at it next week.